Project Management Insights, providing project managers with professional development in the interpersonal skills areas of leadership, team building, and communication. Hello! Let's talk about unrealistic timeframes. I'm sure we've all been in that space of having a business owner or a project sponsor or even business people within the project team that have very, and oftentimes they are extremely, unrealistic time frame requirements around a project. So let's dive in and have a look at this situation, because often I notice one of the first things that occurs is that I'm scared to tell the truth. I'm frightened of what's going to happen, but for me, predominantly, and the bottom line is I think I'm going to lose my job as a project manager if I speak up and say that what they're wanting is unrealistic. Sound like you? The thing is that we oftentimes are scared of conflict because we think that conflict is a bad thing. And yet, bottom line is this. When there's conflict, what it's really about is a disagreement on wants. They want something. In this instance, it's a project delivered by day X. And you want to successfully deliver a project by day Y. So notice that there's two wants and they're different. They're opposing. They're not the same. And so if you sit back and are quiet and don't say anything, all that happens is the person over there continues to be angry and upset because they think they're not going to have their want met. Whereas, if you stand up and say, no, that's not going to be possible because ... and you're expressing it from your wants perspective, I want to deliver this project and it's not possible by the 30th of January, we would need at least till the 30th of March to complete it. At least then your position is out on the table and you can negotiate an outcome. Whereas if you're quiet and you don't say anything, you can't negotiate an outcome. All that happens is they yell and shout louder and louder and louder and get angrier and angrier and angrier and more upset because they're not getting what they want. And unrealistic timeframes usually come from a space of the person having no idea about what it's going to take to actually deliver the project. And so this is where you need to go into education mode. You need to educate the person in the business or the project sponsor or business owner as to what it's really going to take in order to deliver the project. And if they still want the project delivered by the 30th of January, then your next question is, what part of this project don't you want delivered? Because there is no way they can have the entire scope of your business case delivered in 2 weeks if it's going to take 12 to deliver it. It's not possible to deliver it all. So then you need to be asking the question, well, okay, we'll deliver something for you by the 30th of January and, as I said, what pieces do you want delivered? How much of it will you accept being delivered? Because there's no way we're going to be able to deliver it all. So we need to talk about narrowing the scope. How much of the scope are we able to do? Are you going to accept delivery by the 30th of January? Now, if they're adamant that they want it all delivered by the 30th of January, what are you going to do? Because the honest truth is, if you were honest with them, you would say, I can't do it. It's not possible for me to manage this project and deliver this outcome with the team that I've got by that date. The only way that could happen is this, and this. We need $500,000 more dollars and another 25 people on the team. And even then, I'm still not sure it's going to happen. But you need to be clear and honest about exactly what it would take to deliver on their requirement of X date, their unrealistic time frame. And then the other thing you might choose to do is to ask the question, why is it necessary that the project is delivered on that date? They might not have given you all of the information about why it's critical for them that you deliver by the 30th of January, for example. And at least if you openly ask the question, you are more likely to get an answer that's going to explain to you why they've set the unrealistic time frame. Now, getting this information might then help you to understand the urgency factor, the criticality nature of the project, what it is that's got them driving for this unrealistic time frame. Because oftentimes there's a lot of unspoken assumptions and expectations, and this is the sort of stuff that creates problems in relationships, as we've already spoken about, and it's the thing that I suppose is hidden a lot. People don't like to speak about it, and yet it's what creates this conflict and problems, this disagreement of what's possible. And so, maybe it's about asking them about their expectations and their assumptions. Well, you want it delivered now or by the 30th of January. Well, what assumptions do you have about our ability to do that? Are you assuming that we're going to work 24 hours in order to deliver it, for example? Get in and ask the questions, and they're difficult questions, but get in and ask those difficult questions and get them to be honest about where their head is about the time frames and the unrealistic time frames that you're seeing, because there will be a lot riding behind it that they're not telling you. And so ultimately the best thing that you can do is to start to understand why they have such an unrealistic time frame. Maybe the education will help. Maybe it's about nutting out those expectations and assumptions, getting them out on the table and then explaining, well, okay, this is unreal. It's not going to happen. Or, as I said, it can happen all right, and this is what's needed in order to meet that expectation and deliver the project for you within that time frame. And ultimately, this is about your openness and your willingness to speak the truth too. That's where it boils down to. If you don't do that, then the conflict situation's going to stick and you won't get anywhere. So you need to be open and honest and ask those more difficult questions to understand what's really going on behind the unrealistic time frame expectation. Reach out. As I kept saying, reach out to me if you want to talk about this, if this is something that's happening on your project. I'm here to support you. And let me know if there's any specific topics or issues that are coming up for you that you'd like me to cover in a future podcast episode. Always willing to hear about the things that are creating difficulties for you so that I can supply you with some ideas or suggestions of how you might do things differently or how you might solve those problems that you're having on your project. All right, happy project managing, and I'll talk to you next week. Thank you for listening to this Project Management Insights podcast. be sure to visit projectmanagementinsight.com and sign up for our monthly newsletter or to receive updates on upcoming training.